In this video, we will look at the plugin Krita AI Diffusion and how it interacts with a ComfyUI server. This is the Krita software, and I have installed the plugin. In the plugin's configuration, I have an option to install the ComfyUI server, and below are some checkboxes. I will click one of the checkboxes, and then it enables the install button. The ComfyUI server is being installed with the image generation model released by the Flux team. Similarly, you can check other boxes and click the install button here to have the setup done for the Z-image and stable diffusion model. The installation is done, and the server is running, which means now if I try to generate an AI image, my request will get a response from the ComfyUI server. The Flux-2 Klein model is selected, so I will click the Generate button, and there are some activities in the resource monitor. And I got an image. The image generated is not being guided by the prompt, so it can be anything. When the details are specified in the prompt box, the generation is guided accordingly. Right now, I did text-to-image generation, but there are other modes here. And we will be looking at the graph mode. The graph mode allows us to customize the standard image generation process. There are options like import workflow, save workflow, and delete the same, which we'll be looking at in this video. First, let's look at this ComfyUI logo, and clicking on it, open my web browser. The image generated and shown inside Krita using the plugin is actually processed by the ComfyUI server in the background. And this is the ComfyUI's interface, shown using the web browser, with its default workflow for text-to-image generation. The Run button should be at the bottom corner most of the time, and I can click Run to process the default workflow. The workflow gave me a failure message. The message said, "This safe tensor file, which includes the diffusion model, is missing." At the time of server installation, I checked the Flux-2 checkbox, which downloaded the files required for Flux-2 image generation. But in this workflow, the file expected is by stablediffusion version 1.5. So if I check these boxes and click the install button, I may get the file expected by the workflow. The server is stopped, and some files are being downloaded in the background, which should be visible in the resource monitor. The download is complete, and the server started by itself. I will press the letter R to refresh the file list. And the file expected is not downloaded, but the two files I have are also based on stable diffusion version 1.5. I can select one of these files and run the workflow again. So, the default workflow is working now. The new files downloaded can be found inside the checkpoint folder, and do not get confused because there is one more folder inside with the same name. The Flux-2 files downloaded at the beginning are in a different folder named Diffusion Model. The workflow I have here can be saved and shared as well. I can press Ctrl+S to save, and then name the file and save it. Saved workflows are accessible through this workflow option. To export, go to the top left corner, click on the ComfyUI logo. Under File, click Export. Name the file and then save the JSON file. Inside Krita, you can import the workflow using this option. The workflow selected here will be used when the below Generate button is clicked. Right now, the workflow gave an error because it is missing an important node, which we will be looking at ahead. Now I will try to use the Flux-2 model similarly. In the template section, I'm looking for Flux-2 Klein 4B. I will apply a filter for the Flux-2 Klein. And here is the workflow for the 4B text-to-image model. Click to load the workflow, and it says the files are missing. Actually, the files recommended by the Krita plugin and downloaded for Flux-2 are different from the ones expected in this workflow. The files downloaded are smaller in size so that it works on a system with a smaller graphics card. I will close this and select the file manually like I did in the default workflow. There are two sections in it, and I made a detailed video using ComfyUI for this section, where I explain the models and workflows. To keep it simple for Krita, I will disable this and activate the section below. I have the FP8 file, so I will select the same. I don't know about the file used for clip name, but this VAE must be present. I will run the workflow to check. So the clip file is missing. The clip file downloaded by Krita is the Q4 GGUF, which is smaller than the one expected in the workflow. Now I have to make some small changes. I will save this workflow for you, so you can begin without any problems. Inside the subgraph, I will use a GGUF clip loader to load the GGUF file, and then have the node connected. Also, I will have to change the model type, which is Flux. Now it should work. So, I got the image based on the prompt. Inside Krita, my prompt is a cat, which gives this image. And if I copy the seed ID and use the same here with the prompt, I will get the same image. The image generated using this interface can be found inside the output folder. However, the same is not reflected inside Krita. To do that, I will use a custom node named Krita Output, and then have it connected in the workflow. And inside Krita, make sure you are in the graph mode. And you should see the ComfyUI web here. This should appear after you add the Krita output node in the workflow. And then click the Generate button in the Krita interface, and you should get the image from the ComfyUI workflow. I will unpack this subgraph, and now that I have added the Krita output node, I will save the workflow. Inside Krita, click this to import the workflow, and select the workflow. The same should be selected in this drop-down, and then click the Generate button to run the workflow. And the result has been generated. The workflow is working now, but there is no input field to type the prompt. Let's add the prompt field. Before making any changes, select the ComfyUI web in the Krita AI image generation drop-down. If you do not see the option, then delete this node and add it again to the workflow. To add the text input field, I will search for the parameter node and make a connection with the text field. The details in the parameter node are automatically populated. The input field is now present in the Krita interface. I will type a dog and run the workflow. So, the text prompt is now connected with the workflow. Similarly, I will open the stable diffusion workflow and close the previous workflow. I will connect the Krita output again, and then add the parameter node, then connect it to the text field. My prompt will be a bird, and then click the Generate button. So, I got the bird, but the image generated is smaller in size, with a weird wing popping out. When I try generate the image again, the result given is the same image all the time. Let's try fixing these problems. The bad image can be fixed by giving negative prompts. This is something you need when using stable diffusion models to generate an image. The default image size for stable diffusion 1.5 models is 512 pixels, which looks correct. But this image size in the workflow should be connected with a canvas from the Krita software. And the reason for the repeated image is this seed ID. If I change this and try generating the image again, I get a different bird. I will use the Krita canvas node and make the connection with a width and height for the image in this workflow. And this will go to the seed ID. Now I should be getting different images. Stable diffusion 1.5 models are outdated now. You can use SDXL model with a negative prompt for better images, or else just stick with Flux models. We can have one more node in this workflow, which is named as Krita style. The node has connections similar to the checkpoint node, which means this will work with the checkpoint, which includes the diffusion model, clip, and the VAE, all in a single file. This won't work with Flux models. Now this will not be required. In the Krita interface, I now have the style drop-down to select the models. This style, named Digital Artwork, will use the Dream Shaper model. And this cinematic photo is using the other model we got for Stable Diffusion version 1.5. If I try the Flux model, my prompt will be a bird. It gives an error because the files for Flux are separated. So the clip and VAE are not found. There are a few other connections we can make, like this guidance and the sampling steps. And then the scheduler and the sampler. In the Krita interface, we do not get any new input fields after making those connections. This is because those values are coming from the configuration. The sampler and other settings are present here. I have added the Krita Canvas node in the workflow for the Flux-2 Klein model. And this workflow will be in the description, so you can try uploading to see how it works. The image by the Flux model is far superior to the older model, so you should continue with it. So that is it in this video. I hope this was useful to someone, and I wish you an excellent day.